Good evening, students. So we were studying about...
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. We were studying about plans in our last class, right? Can you recall what we were studying in our last class? Last class at ki poislo? Planning, its importance, nature of planning, then what is the process of planning, right? Today we will study about what are the different types of plan. Plan kenekwa dhoroner hobo pare, right? So there are two categories of plan. Plan kenekwa dhoroner boli kole ami kom ki plans are of two types. The first one is the standing plan and the second one is your single use plan. Naam to hunile kenekwa standing plan. Standing plan are the plans which are used in repetitive conditions or in under similar situations, right? Standing plans were ketia use koro jetia similar kind of situation arise kore. And these plans, standing plans which are repetitive in nature, they actually provide us the guidelines to deal with a situation in a particular situation, how we need to behave or what kind of, how we need to tackle the situation. Like kisuman employees regularly late ahibo pare. So eta jodi standing plan thake, then we will know how to deal with this particular problem, right? So late coming on karone fine thakibo pare, right? So this is an example of your standing plan. So standing plans are those plans that are repetitive in nature, and these plans are helpful in dealing with situations which are of similar nature. Hoine aji ejon employee late ke ahile, kali beleg ejon employee late ke ahile. So he late coming or karone keneke ami deal korim he situation to. So these standing plans will provide the guidelines. Bujisa? So standing plans are the recurring plans. Recurring mane repeat hoi thaka. Recurring plans, and they are used repeatedly in situations of a similar nature. Eke dhoroner problems bur deal koribole. Another example you can give of what? Aru eta problem? Kwa? Give any example of your choice. Ako sudden bond jodi pori gol. Hetu hobo jano? School policies. Yes, school policies. Policies are examples of your what? Of your standing plans. Policies, then procedure. Kisuman procedure thake no. Employees or grievance kisuman thake. Kaam korute kisuman teoluke okhubidha pabo pare. So teolukor kisuman what? Frustrations thakibo pare. So how will the company deal with the frustrations of the people? That is an example of your what? Standing plan. Like salary time mote pua nai. Okay, suppose the employees are not getting the salary on time. Then what kind of action will be taken against the department which is dealing with the employee salary? So sob dhoroner problems or karone kiba eta basic guidelines thake jiburok ami procedures buli kong ba policy buli kong hoine. So these are the examples of our standing plans. Rules, policies and procedures, these are the examples of our standing plan, right? Standing plans simplify the decision making process as they decide in advance what and how a variety of operations will be taking place. Standing plans are essential for smooth operations. Objectives. Objectives were examples of standing plan hoy. Kenuka objectives hobo pare? Organization atar sales borhua hoine. Profit making can be an objective. Kisuman non-profit organizations kisumano thake hoine. So these are the these can be considered as the objectives for the organizations. So next we come to single use plans. Single use plans were ketia amak helpful hoy when we are dealing with a particular kind of problem. Jitu যিটোৰ ফিক্সড তুমি আমি এডভান্সত আমি গাইডলাইনছ বনাই ৰাখিব নোৱাৰোঁ ছাডেন ছাপ'জ কি হ'ব তোমাৰ ছাডেন ষ্ট্ৰাইক এটা হৈ গ'ল অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যন এটাত ছাডেন ষ্ট্ৰাইক কোনো ভাবা নাছিলে যে এমপ্লয়িজখিনিয়ে ছাডেনলি ৰিভল্ট কৰিব পাৰে ইন ডেট কেছ a single-use plan will be helpful, right? Some examples of our single-use plans are the budgets, schedules, and projects. Projects are the plans which are made for a specific purpose, right? And they are what? They are given away once the objectives are fulfilled. Projectবোৰ কেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ হয় এটা পাৰ্টিকুলাৰ অবজেক্টিভৰ কাৰণে স্মল প্লেনছ হয় নে সো যেতিয়া আমাৰ অবজেক্টিভছবোৰ ফুলফিল হৈ যায় তেতিয়া আমি প্লেনছবোৰ কি কৰোঁ প্ৰজেক্টটো উই এবাণ্ডন দ্য project when once the objectives are fulfilled so this budgets schedules and projects these are the examples of single use plan kan budget kon ami sabason budget mane ki budgets are the estimates of what finances and how we are going to allocate the finances to various resources right so budgets bur ki hoy proti bosare bodli jay hoy ne so these are the examples of your single use plan some schemes are repetitive but otherwise the whole budget cannot be repeated every year right schedules mane ki schedules mane ki bujim yes timetable boli kobo para but schedules are the plans which deal with what deal with fixed schedules are the plans which deal with the timely delivery of goods and services right hoy ne kobo paru teneke schedules are also a kind of your plans right next we will come to the next slide last class on ami premises boli shobda eta bare use korislu monot ase ne we were talking about the term premises what are premises boli kole ki buju ami je the conditions or the environment in which the plan is implemented mane kenekwa dhonor circumstances ot amar plan to implement korisu that is known as our premises and it can be categorized under three categories which are internal and external premises controllable semi controllable and uncontrollable premises and the last is the tangible and intangible premises so first to swat malke internal premises boli kole ki boli buji the premises that are within the organization inside the organizations like tumar sales jibur amar forecast thake sales forecast they help us in implementing a plan in a better way right sales forecast then cash inflows cash kiman ahise cash kiman amar organization to pa amar bahirole di asu so this helps us in making a good plan hoy ne bujisa mor kotha to sales forecast mane ki kitna sale hoga right so wo ek plan banane ke liye helpful hai na so these are the internal things so internal premises okay so sales forecast cash flows advertisement expenditure mane advertisement ot ami kiman kharcha korisu hetu jodi ami janu titia it helps us in better allocation of the cash right and better implementation of a plan hoy ne আমি যদি এডভাৰটাইজমেন্টত ইমানখিনি খৰচা হ'ব বুলি গম পাওঁ তেতিয়াহলে আমি প্ৰডাক্টটো বনাওতে কিমান ক্যাশ মানে এলোকেট কৰিম বা বেলেগ সেক্টৰছত আমি কিমান এলোকেট কৰিম হেতু আমাৰ হেতু প্ল্যান কৰিবলৈ আমাক ইজি হয় নে so that is an example of our internal premises right next we will come to external premises are the external environment in which the plans is implemented. External premises are concerned with the general business climate compromising of economic, social, political and technological conditions in the economy. Tarmane economic conditions bur kenekwa bahiror, like whether the economic condition in the market is going through inflation hoise niki ba deflation hoise niki. Inflation mane what is inflation? Inflation is the what? What is inflation? Inflation is what? Inflation মানে বজাৰত সব বস্তুবোৰ হেৰি হৈ যায় ন, দামবোৰ বাঢ়ি যায় হয় নে, মাৰ্কেটত বস্তুবোৰৰ দামবোৰ বাঢ়ি যায় and the purchasing power of people decreases, right? So economic conditions bur kenekwa hoy tar uportu amar plan to nirbhor kore, right? Next, social conditions. Social conditions bulile ami ki example dibo paru? Transport ki festive seasons are, yes, festive seasons are somewhat there can be seen a change in the behavior of the people. Festive seasons are somewhat manor social behavior to bodli jay hoy ne, and people social behavior bodle boli kole ma ki bujaisu je during the festive seasons we see that people are what? People are communicating more with one another, communicating more, they are exchanging gifts, they are exchanging items of what? Mane gift items bur exchange kore. So bihur samoyat, pujar samoyat amar demand to barhi jay hoy ne. Based on that also the organizations, manufacturing companies, they will what? Manufacture their clothes considering the demand in the market, right? Next, political situations are upot depend kore. Political situations kenuka hobo pare, elections or samoyat kenuka hoy jay conditions bur, market environment to kenuka hoy jay kenuka hoy ha danga fasad. So danga fasad hobo to plan kenuka dhoronor plan koribo lagibo government during elections. Sob phale patrolling choli thake, police personnel are can be seen here and there, right? So hebur mane conditions se amar plan bonat determine kore. Okay, so these are the examples of your external premises. And another example of technological conditions ki dibo para, market ot jodi notun kiba ta software ahi jay ba notun technology ahi jay, then prothomte agote to ami 2G satisfied hoy aslu, lahe lahe 3G le golu, 3G pisot 4G, eta to 5G to ami mane satisfied no hom sake, we will be wanting more, right? Hoy ne, lahe lahe amak sob bostu 3D lagibo. Now we are watching things or videos mostly in 2G, 2 dimensional, right? Kedin man pisot to everything will be like in 3D, 4D loke 4D common hoy goise bahira kisuman jagat hoy ne. So technological conditions are upor to plans for depend kore. Next, controllable premise mane the premises that can be controlled, jibur tamne organization to nije control koribo pare. Okay, the premises that can be controlled by the organization, those are called as the controllable premises. Jane internal policy. Internal policy example ki hobo pare? Kiman salary dibo, hetu to eta internal policy hoy ne. It differs from organization to organization. Ako suti kiman dibo, jodi private organization hoy jay to kiman employees ok kiman leave dibo, tar pisot tumar recruitment policy is an example of your internal policy. কেনেকে ধৰণে ৰিক্ৰুইট কৰিব, এডভাৰটাইজমেণ্টৰ থ্ৰুদি তোমাৰ ৰিক্ৰুইট কৰিব নে তোমাৰ ইণ্টাৰনেল ৰিক্ৰুইটমেণ্ট কৰিব উইদিন দ্য এক্সিষ্টিং এমপ্লয়িজ, দিজ আৰ দ্য এক্সাম্পলছ অফ আৱাৰ হোৱাট ইণ্টাৰনেল পলিচি, নিজৰ ভিতৰ হুইচ ইজ ইন দ্য হেণ্ডছ অফ দ্য মেনেজমেণ্ট অফ দ্য অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যন। বুজিছা? কিছুমান বস্তু যিখিনি তাৰমানে মেনেজমেণ্ট মাইণ্ডটোৱে নিজে কণ্ট্ৰল কৰিব পাৰে দে ডু নট নিড দ্য advice or the suggestions from any other organizations. Hetu ekdam nijor hobo, right? So internal policies, credit policies, how much credit they will be offering to the other stakeholders, right? These are the examples of our controllable premises. Then investment plan. Jikhini profit hoy, hekhini keneke dhorone invest koribo. The profit that the organizations are gaining from their business, how they will invest it further. Keneke invest koribo. নতুন কিবা এটা টেকনলজি সিহঁতি পাৰচেজ কৰিব পাৰে বা ৰিচাৰ্চ এণ্ড ডেভেলপমেণ্টত ইনভেষ্ট কৰিব পাৰে নতুবা কি কৰিব পাৰে নতুবা নতুন ব্ৰাঞ্চেছ খুলিব পাৰে অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যনটো গ্ৰ' কৰিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰিব ন চ' দিজ আৰ দ্য এক্সাম্পলছ অফ আৰ ইনভেষ্টমেণ্ট প্লেনছ নেক্সট উই কাম টু ছেমি কণ্ট্ৰলেবল যিবোৰ প্ৰিমাইচেছ অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যনটোৱে টু ছাম এক্সটেণ্ট কণ্ট্ৰল কৰিব পাৰে পূৰা সম্পূৰ্ণ কণ্ট্ৰল কৰিব নোৱাৰে কিন্তু অলপকৈ কণ্ট্ৰল কৰিব পাৰে দ'জ আৰ দ্য এক্সাম্পলছ অফ আৰ ছেমি কণ্ট্ৰলেবল প্ৰিমাইচেছ লাইক ইউৰ ইউনিয়ন মেনেজমেণ্ট ৰিলেশ্যনছ বুলিলে কি বুজো দ্য কৰ্ডিয়েল ৰিলেশ্যনশ্বিপ বিটুইন দ্য মেনেজমেণ্ট এণ্ড দ্য ইউনিয়ন ভাল ৰিলেশ্যনছ থাকিলে কি হ'ব ষ্ট্ৰাইকছ কম হ'ব লেবাৰ লছবোৰ বেছিকৈ ইমপ্লিমেণ্ট কৰিবলৈ দৰকাৰ নপৰিব হয়নে এণ্ড পিপল উইল হেভ দ্য ৱৰ্কাৰ্ছ উইল বি একচুৱেলি হেভিং গুড ৰিলেশ্যনছ উইথ দ্য মেনেজমেণ্ট এণ্ড ইন ডেট কেছ কি হ'ব এটা পাৰ্টিচিপেটিভ মেনেজমেণ্ট হয় যেতিয়া কিবা এটা নতুন পলিচি উলিয়াব তেতিয়াহ'লে মেনেজমেণ্টে কি কৰিব ৱৰ্কাৰ্ছবোৰৰ ছাজেশ্যনছ ল'ব আৰু ৱৰ্কাৰ্ছ উইল অলছ' লিচন টু দ্য management. Both parties will share each other's viewpoints. So that is an example of if the union management's relations are good, then it will help in better implementation of a plan. Bujisa? So these are examples of your semi-controllable premises. Next, firms share in the market. Marketot firm khonor share kiman ase? Share value thake no? Hoy ne? Bombay Stock Exchange আৰু কিবা আৰু আছে নহয় NSE that এইবোৰতো ক'ব নালাগে আজিকালি ট্ৰেডিং ইমান নিউজত আছে ন so how much share a firm has in the market সেইটো it will depend on the company's reputation in the market companyটো যদি বহুত ভাল এটা নিজৰ ব্ৰেণ্ড বনাই থৈছে মাৰ্কেটত দেন ইটছ শ্বেয়াৰ ভেলু উইল অলছ' বি গুড আৰু সেই ব্ৰেণ্ডটো বনাবৰ কাৰণে কি কৰিব লাগিব এটা কোম্পানী এটাই নিজৰ ব্ৰেণ্ড ভেলু এটা বনাবৰ কাৰণে বহুতখিনি ফেক্টৰছক ভালকৈ মেইনটেইন কৰিব লাগে দ্য মেনেজমেণ্ট অফ দ্য অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যন শুড বি গুড ইন ডেট কেছ অনলি ইট উইল বি এবল টু বিল্ড দ্য ব্ৰেণ্ড নেম ইন দ্য মাৰ্কেট আৰু মাৰ্কেটত যেতিয়া ব্ৰেণ্ড নেমটো ভাল হ'ব তেতিয়াহ'লে তোমাৰ শ্বেয়াৰ ভেলুটো ভাল হ'ব ৰাইট চ' ইট কেন বি ছেড ডেট দিছ থিংছ আৰ ইন দ্য হেণ্ডছ অফ দ্য মেনেজমেণ্ট টু ছাম এক্সটেণ্ট সেইকাৰণে কোৱা হৈছে যে ছেমি কণ্ট্ৰলেবল প্ৰিমাইজ বুজিছা নেক্সট ইজ দ্য মাৰ্কেট ষ্ট্ৰেটেজিটো কেনেকুৱা হ'ব মাৰ্কেট ষ্ট্ৰেটেজি কেনেকুৱা হ'ব সেইটোও অলপ মেনেজমেণ্টৰ হাতত থাকে বুজিছা নেক্সট লেবাৰ টাৰ্ণঅভাৰ বুলি ক'লে কি বুজিম যে হাউ মাছ হোৱাট ইজ দ্য টাৰ্ণঅভাৰ বুলি ক'লে কি বুজিম মানে লেবাৰ টাৰ্ণঅভাৰ মিনছ হাউ মাছ এমপ্লয়িজ আৰ frequently like changing in the organization labor turnover মানে এখিনি লেবাৰ কাম কৰিছে বাট এবছৰৰ ভিতৰত কাম এৰি দিলে so that is the turnover of the workers এবছৰলৈকে অকল কাম কৰিলে তাৰপিছত কিছুমান লেবাৰ চাবা এটা অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যন 20 বছৰ কাম কৰিছে 30 বছৰ কাম কৰিছে so labor turnoverটো কিমান হয় বুজিছা কথাটো মই কি বুজাইছো that change of the workers in an organization that is the labor turnover right turnover change হৈ গৈছে নামনে okay so হেতুটো তোমাৰ ডিপেন্ড কিহৰ ওপৰত কৰিব অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যনটোৱে ৱৰ্কিং কণ্ডিশ্যনছটো ভাল হয় নে নহয়, অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যনৰ ৱৰ্কিং কণ্ডিশ্যনছ ভাল হয়নে, চেলাৰীটো সময়মতে দিছেনে, ছুটি দিছেনে, ৰেষ্ট আৱাৰ্ছ দিছেনে, চব ফেক্টৰ্ছৰ ওপৰত ডিপেণ্ড কৰে ন, হয়নে? চ' এইটো অলপ অলপ মেনেজমেণ্টে কণ্ট্ৰল কৰিব পাৰে. চ' ডেট ইজ দ্য falling under your semi-controllable premise. Next, we will come to uncontrollable premises. Uncontrollable মানে যিবোৰ premises management control কৰিব নোৱাৰে. If you see that today there is an earthquake, which is what? Which is in the hands of God. হয় নে? Natural calamity হৈছে, flood হৈ গৈছে. Flood হৈ পেলাই আজি আমাৰ এটা কোম্পানীৰ গোটেই তলৰ গ্ৰাউণ্ড ফ্ল'ৰটো ফ্লাডেড হৈ গ'ল. চ' তাৰ কাৰণে মেনেজমেণ্টেতো আগতে গম পোৱা নাছিলে, হয়নে? চ' ডেট ইজ আনকণ্ট্ৰলেবল প্ৰিমাইজ. ৱাৰ হৈ গ'ল, calamity, natural calamities হৈ গ'ল. চ' দিজ আৰ দ্য এক্সাম্পলছ অফ আৰ আনকণ্ট্ৰলেবল প্ৰিমাইচেছ. বুজিছা? যিবোৰ মানে মেনেজমেণ্টে কণ্ট্ৰল কৰিব নোৱাৰি. নেক্সট উই কাম টু টেঞ্জিবল এণ্ড ইনটেঞ্জিবল. টেঞ্জিবল মিনছ দ্য প্ৰিমাইচেছ ডেট কেন বি touched, and the intangible বুলি ক'লে কি বুজাও? Which cannot be touched. কিন্তু প্ৰিমাইজবোৰক আমি টাচ কৰিব পাৰিম নেকি? So কি বুজাইছা? Let's go through the definition. The premises that can be expressed in tangible physical terms. কাৰণ আমি প্ৰিমাইজটোতো চুই চাব নোৱাৰোঁ ন? Tangible physical terms such as labor hour, production units are known as tangible premises. Tarmane those that can be actually quantified. The premises that we can express in terms of quantity or numbers. Jeneke production units. Kiman units produce korisu? 1000 units produce korisu. But labor hour mane how many hours the workers have actually worked, excluding all that lunch break and all. মানে কিমানখিনি সময় একচুৱেলি কাম কৰিলে. চ' ডেট উইল ফল আণ্ডাৰ ইয়ৰ টেঞ্জিবল প্ৰিমাইচেছ. নেক্সট, ইনটেঞ্জিবল প্ৰিমাইচেছ আৰ দ'জ প্ৰিমাইচেছ ডেট কেনট বি টাচড অৰ দ'জ ডেট কেনট বি কোৱান্টিফাইড. মানে কোৱান্টিফাই কৰিব নোৱাৰোঁ. অ'কে? চ' ইয়াত কি আহিব তোমাৰ? পাব্লিক ৰিলেশ্যনছ এণ্ড এমপ্লয়ী মৰেল. পাব্লিক ৰিলেশ্যনছ মিনছ দ্য good relations between the worker and the management, between one company and another company in the same industry. Henekwa public relations mane সম্পৰ্কটো. Okay? Next, this cannot be ignored while planning. So which is more important? Tangible premises are more important or your intangible premises are more important? Or both? Both are important. Next time we will come to the topic organizing. What do we mean by organize? When we use the term organize, we mean that we are arranging the things, right? So in management, organizing is the process of identifying the work and then grouping them so that the objectives are fulfilled by the people who are designated to do the work and by assuming the responsibility and authority, right? So organize boli kole ami ki bujhim je we are arranging. First we will identify the work. Ki khini kaam koribo ase. Hekini first we will identify the work and we will group them. Grouping korile ki hobo? All the similar kinds of task or the work, they will be categorized. Categorize korar loge loge ami ki koribo parim? We can allot the people who will be doing that particular task, right? And we can do the departmentation or we can form the departments and then the work can be actually done, right? Why organizing is necessary? Organize kyo koribo lage bostukhini? But in an organization, why we need to organize the different task? Kyo koribo lage? systematic way কৰিব লাগে, and it is not possible for a single person to fulfill all the work, right? Aru, if we organize the task or the activities, then those tasks which are not very important, that can be what? That can be delegated to some other people. And jikhini most important things, but strategic jikhini tasks thake, which involve strategic decision making, they can be what? Allocated to the people who are in the topmost positions, right? And it helps in better performance of the deeds, right? Hekarne amar organize koribo lage amar bostu khini. So let us look at the definition of organizing. Organizing is defined as dividing and subdividing up of duties and responsibilities which are necessary to any purpose and arranging them in groups which are assigned to individual. Next, Kunj and Donnell also gave one definition which says that organizing involves the establishment of an internal structure of roles through determination and enumeration of activities required to achieve the goals of an enterprise, and each part of it, the grouping of these activities, the assignment of such groups of activities to manager, the delegation of authority to carry them out, and provision for coordination of authority and informal relationships horizontally and vertically in the organization structure. Such a big definition, but it includes all the main features which should be there in the function of organizing, right? So, ki koise je establishment of an internal structure of roles. Tamne kune kuntu kam koribo. That is the assumption of the roles. Then, through determination and enumeration of activities. Tamne ki activities korim? Hetu identify koribo, right? Next, required to achieve the goals of the enterprise and each part of it. Goals kita keneke achieve korim? Hetu kwa hoise. Next, the grouping of these activities, the assignment of groups of activities to manager, the delegation of authority. Mane group korar pisot, what we will do after grouping the work, we will do the departmentation, or we will divide it into different departments, right? Department form kori diar loge loge kunba to he department to sabo lagibo, right? So this task will be done by the manager of that particular department, right? Sales department or sales manager, product department, production manager, then advertisement manager, sub department tot ami categorize kori dia hoy, right? Then jetia ami department tot ami divide kori dilu aru manager under ani dilu, so the manager will now be what? He will be assuming the responsibility, right? Etia ami assume koribo, responsibility to assume koribo, and he will also be given the authority, right? And provision for coordination of authority and informational relationship horizontally and vertically in the organization structure. Tamne tarpisot manager khini then the manager will be responsible for the fulfillment of the task, right? And if the task is not performed well, then to whom he will be what? Responsible. To whom he will report. That will also be coming under the task of our organizing, because we will see that there is a formal structure. So hekane first step to take koise no internal structure of roles. Ami eta structure form koribole ami sam, right? Next, look at the process of organizing. First is identification of the work. Next, grouping of the work. Third is establishing formal reporting relationships. Prothom duta to bujisai. Third to bujisa, establishing formal reporting relationship. That means after the work is divided or categorized, one and the work is performed. Bhalke hoise na nai, we need to report to someone, right? How much of the work is done. Kintu yat tumalkor kitabot this point is written wrongly. Okay. Tumar authority delegate kora agot ketiao measurement, evaluation and control koribo nware. Okay. I have also consulted other books. Belek kitabu moi 2-3 khon management or kitab saisu. Tat tumalkor steps of organizing ot swa tumalke ba process of organizing. First dia ase identifying the work, then grouping of the work, third establishing formal reporting relationships. Ekin loge thik ase because we need a framework of who will be doing what kind of work, right? That is provided by establishing formal relationships. Kintu tumalke swa authority nuhua ke direct tumalke kenege measurement koriba, evaluate koriba and control koriba. This providing for measurement, evaluation and control will be along with coordination. Third step or pisot tumalkor fourth step ahibo delegating authority. Tar pisot providing for coordination and evaluation and control. Etu sailwa de kitabot etu olop bhulke dia ase tumalkor. After the third step, establishing formal reporting relationships are pisot tumalkor delegating authority ahibo. Okay? Delegating or pisot tumar coordination hobo. Coordination or pisot hai tumar provision for measurement, evaluation and control hobo. Okay? Here also, this things is given as it is in book, but I have consulted various books. Ar sobote he moi jitu order koisu etue hobo. Kan amar jete relationship bur ami form korim, tar pisot obviously the managers they will be assuming the responsibility. After that we will be able to control and measure the performance, right? Next we will come to the very important topic, that is staffing. Staffing is the process of what? Process of allocating people to various jobs, right? And also maintaining them. Ako maintainu koribo lagibo. Tamne ami je eta organization ak manhu amak lage. How we will determine je amak aji kima yat eta kaam eta perform koribo karne ba job eta koribo karne kiman khini manu aji lagibo ba future demand to kiman lagibo, kiman hobo pare. All those requirement of manpower is done through the process of our staffing. So staffing is the process of obtaining and maintaining whom? Capable and competent people for filling up the positions from top to operative levels. So manuhok je ami organization etat jobot involve koru, job diu, hiatok ami salary diu, hiator grievance bur ami handle koru. All these things will come under the process of your staffing, right? So staffing is the process of filling up the various positions in an organization through skilled people, competent people who are actually fit to perform that job, right? So staffing or importance to ki hoy. Let us look at it. It helps in the discovery of competent and qualified people. Because eta homayt ami pohislu na history of management ot ami pohislu je jodhe modhe jake take GT kaam koribole dia hoisle, and that did not bring satisfaction to the workers. So workers were very much demotivated and what? They were not willing to do the work, right? So he karne staffing amak dorkar hoy because it helps in filling up the skilled people. Jitu jobor karne juntu manu fit hoy teolukok ami job to diu, right? Next, it helps in bringing productivity by placing right people on the right jobs. It helps in estimating the staffing requirements of the organization in future. Through the process of staffing, we can know how much employees will also be required in the future. Jete ami notun branch khulu kobat eta organizationer, tete to manpower dorkar hoy. নতুন নতুন মানুহক আমি ৰিক্ৰুইট কৰিব লগা হয় চ' হাউ দিছ থিংছ আৰ ডান থ্ৰু দ্য প্ৰচেছ অফ ষ্টাফিং নেক্সট ইট হেল্পছ দ্য personnel to occupy the top positions within the organization. How? We will see in the future slides. It helps in the development of people through training and development, and it helps in making the best use of existing workforce. It also helps in providing adequate and equitable remuneration of workforce. Remuneration mane the fair amount of salary or wages that the employees and the workers are getting. It results in high employee morale and job satisfaction by placing the right people on the right job. Next, let us look at the process of staffing. Staffing or khetrot ami ki steps involved thake. First is the manpower planning. Manpower planning means estimating the amount of people that will be required in the organization today as well as tomorrow. Aji kiman khini manpower lagibo, kailoi kiman khini demand hobo lage. All this is known as manpower planning or human resource planning. Kiman khini manu lagibo organization. Determination of men in the organization. Next is the recruitment. Recruitment is the process of attracting the candidates who are suitable for the job. It is only the process of attracting. Tamne job to jete di diu, hetu amar that will come under the process of selection. Recruitment is simply the what? Simply attracting the people for the job. Ami je newspapers at advertisement diu, ba TV tami advertisement diu, বা মুখে মুখে যে আমি এটা ভেকেঞ্চি ওলাইছে বুলি কৈছোঁ তাৰপিছত আমি এপ্লিকেশ্যনবোৰ বিচাৰিছোঁ যে কেণ্ডিডেটছবোৰক যোনে যোনে এপ্লাই কৰিব বিচাৰিছে 15th of Septemberলৈকে এপ্লাই কৰিব পাৰে চ' দেট ইজ দ্য প্ৰচেছ অফ ৰিক্ৰুইটমেণ্ট অ'কে ৰিক্ৰুইটমেণ্ট ইজ attracting the suitable candidates for that particular job. Selection is the process of selecting the particular person who is competent. Ami prothomate jikhini manu gather korilu job to karone that will fall under recruitment. And selection is selecting the best out of all these candidates. After selecting, we will go through the process of training. Training kyo koru ami? Why do we train? Aru bhalke kaam koribo lage. So aru bhalke kaam koribo karone ami train koru. Aru bhalke kaam korar uporiu ki hoy because that person who already has the skill he might not be acquainted with everything that he has to perform on his job. So if the task is of hazardous nature then hey machines kita keneke handle koribo lage he needs to be trained and precautionary measures kini tak agotie hikai dibo lage. So that is why we need the training. Training or pisot lastot ki hai amar placement and induction. Placement is the process of actually placing the candidate in the job. That means jete he actually job to he koribole lobo that is the process of your placement. And induction is making the candidate familiar with the work environment and the job that he has to do, right? So these are the steps of the staffing process. Okay. Next, we will see the sources of recruitment. Sources of recruitment can be classified under two categories, internal source and external source. Internal boli kole the sources of recruitment that are within the organization. Jene already existing employees khini ase teolukok ami promote kori pale next higher position eta dibo paro, transfer kori beleg eta branch ole pothai dibo paro. Then aru ki hobo pare internal source of recruitment. हाँ वो हो सकता है एक हायर पोजीशन या दूसरा एक इंटरनल एग्जामिनेशन. Yes, it can be an example of our internal source of recruitment. External source of recruitment কি হ'ব পাৰে? Advertisement, professional agency কিছুমান থাকে যিবোৰে অকল অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যনৰ যিকোনো এটা অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যনৰ বা ইণ্ডাষ্ট্ৰীৰ যেতিয়া ৰিকুৱাৰমেণ্ট আহে সিহঁতি ছাপ্লাই দিয়ে. ছাপ্লাই কৰে মানে সিহঁতি অলৰেডি আগতেই কিছুমান কেণ্ডিডেটছৰ পৰা সিহঁতৰ বায়'ডেটা বা ৰেজিউমি কালেক্ট কৰি অলৰেডি ইনফৰ্মেশ্যনখিনি শ্বৰ্টিং কৰি থয়. যেতিয়া সিহঁতি দেখে যে এনেকৈ টাই আপছ থাকে, একচুৱেলি টাই আপ থাকে, আৰু যেতিয়া দেখে কি চিমিলাৰ স্কিলছ মোৰ মিলিছে ভেকেঞ্চিৰ লগত, তেতিয়াহ'লে তেওঁ সেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কেণ্ডিডেটছখিনিকো ইনফৰ্ম কৰে, অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যনটোকো ইনফৰ্ম কৰে, ৰাইট? দেন দেয়াৰ আৰ চাম প্ৰফেশ্যনেল এছ'চিয়েশ্যনছ লাইক এতিয়া তোমাৰ মেডিকেল ছায়েন্সেছৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত বা মেডিকেল ডিপাৰ্টমেণ্টত চালে কিছুমান যিবোৰ মানে কাণ্ট্ৰি ৱাইড যিবোৰ এছ'চিয়েশ্যন আছে, IMA ইণ্টাৰনেশ্যনেল মেডিকেল এছ'চিয়েশ্যন, তাৰ থ্ৰুদি কিছুমান ডক্টৰ্ছক কিছুমান পজিশ্যনছৰ কাৰণে তেওঁলোকে এডভাৰটাইজমেণ্ট দিয়ে. দেন আমাৰ আৰু কি হ'ব পাৰে? ৱৰ্ড অফ মাউথ. ৱৰ্ড অফ মাউথ মানে কি? মুখে মুখে যে কয় এই অইলত এটা চাকৰি ওলাইছে দেই. So that is an example of your what? Word of mouth. Then আৰু এটা আছে internal moonlighting বুলি. এইখিনিতে তোমালোকৰ কিতাপতে আছে চাবা. Internal moonlighting তাৰমানে এটা মানুহে এটা অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যনত এটা জব অলৰেডি কৰি আছে, but he can also be engaged in another job in that same institution or a different institution. Primary job to কৰি আছে, like suppose I am a full-time teacher in one organization. Again, I am working as a part-time teacher or a guest lecturer in some other institution. So what it is an example of your internal moonlighting. If it is within the same organization. But he term to koi moonlighting. Mane ejon manue eta primary job eta kori ase, but side by side eta side business to engage hoy ase. Ba aru eta professionat side business হিচাপে তেওঁ এনগেজ হৈ আছে. চ' ডেট ইজ এন এক্সাম্পল অফ ইয়ৰ মুন লাইটিং. আৰু কি আছে? এতিয়া চোৱা আমাৰ দুইটা ধৰণৰ তোমাৰ চ'ৰ্চেছৰে কিছুমান মেৰিটছ আৰু ডিমেৰিটছ আছে. ইণ্টাৰনেল চ'ৰ্চ অফ ৰিক্ৰুইটমেণ্টত কি হয়, যেতিয়া আমি ইণ্টাৰনেলি মানুহখিনিক আমি ৰিক্ৰুইট কৰোঁ, দেন আৱাৰ cost comes down. Why? Because আমি যদি এটা পেপাৰত এটা এড দি পেলাই ৰিক্ৰুইটমেণ্টৰ কাৰণে এডভাৰটাইজমেণ্ট কৰোঁ, দেন ইট ইনভলভছ আ কষ্ট, ৰাইট? বা বেলেগ টিভিটো যদি এডভাৰটাইজমেণ্ট এটা দিবলৈ হয়, উই হেভ টু পে' ফৰ ডেট, ৰাইট? এণ্ড এক্সাম এটা পাতিবলৈ হ'লে যেতিয়া এক্সটাৰ্নেল ৰিক্ৰুইটমেণ্ট কৰোঁ আমি, কি লাগে আমাক? এক্সাম এটা পাতিবৰ কাৰণে কিমানখিনি কষ্ট উঠাব লাগে? তোমাৰ OMR শ্বীট বনাব লাগিব, তাৰপিছত এক্সামিনাৰ থাকিব লাগিব, আকৌ বহি কাৰেকশ্যন কৰিবৰ কাৰণে আকৌ উই নিড so many people, right? For the entire process, it is actually costly process, right? Again, you need some people who will prepare the questionnaires. Some experts will be needed to prepare the questions. So it becomes a costly affair, right? So internal sources of recruitment is easy because it doesn't involve cost, and in this kind of recruitment we already know the people. Organization to bhitor already people kini kaam kori ase, we know what kind of skills they have or what are their competencies. Yata kiman kini yati etu kaam to poribo na nai, we already know that, right? So it is beneficial. Next demerits ki hoy? It discourages new blood from entering into the organization. নতুন তো মানুহ কোনো নাহে, নতুন মানুহ নাহিলে কি হয়? Some kind of boredom might arise in the organization, and also psychophancy and favoritism. তাৰমানে কিছুমান মানুহক দেখিবাচোন এনি টাইম মাস্কা মাৰি থাকে ন, তেল মাৰি থাকে যে. So that is known as psychophancy and favoritism. The boss might also favor some candidates who are somehow related to him or who are using psychophancy. বুজিছা না? তেল মাৰি থাকে যে, হয় নে তেতিয়া বছৰটো সদায় সদায় তেল মাৰি থাকিলে বা কিবা ধৰণৰ যদি পাৰ্চনেল কিবা এটা গেইন হয় তেতিয়াহ'লেতো বছৰ ফেভাৰ কৰি দিব ন চ' দিছ থিংছ আৰ দ্য ডিমেৰিটছ অফ আৰ ইণ্টাৰনেল চ'ৰ্চ অফ ৰিকুৱাৰমেণ্ট এক্সটাৰ্নেল চ'ৰ্চ অফ ৰিকুৱাৰমেণ্টৰ চাম এক্সাম্পলছ আৰ advertisement, employment exchanges and employee walk-ins. Employee exchangeবোৰত আজিকালি বহুত এক্সাম তোমালোকে যদি গভৰ্ণমেণ্ট চাকৰিৰ কাৰণে এপ্লাই কৰা you have to give your what? You have to register yourself in an employment exchange, right? So employment exchanges are also a source of external recruitment. I don't know how far this is working, but earlier ki agote ki hoisle se employment exchange act ekhon asile jikhon ase amar 1959-60 enekwa manor hobo tat eta provision eta ase section 4 boot koru ase je jete eta industry eta vacancy ulai tamne the organization should inform the employment exchange which is nearest to the organization regarding the vacancy. And tite employment exchange nijor falor pa candidates kisuman die. And after doing the recruitment process, they have to inform the employment exchange within 15 days. Jikunu mane eta organizationat jitu organizationat 25 otke besi jodi mane workers ase he organization to employment exchange inform koribo lage jodi vacancy ulai aru ako hire korar pisotu ba selection korar pisotu ako janabo lage within 15 days that is a provision of that act kintu azikali I don't know because I myself I had at one point of time I had registered myself in an employment exchange more employment exchange validity khatam hoy gol but I never got a phone call or nothing of that sort from the employment exchange but nowadays after these things are becoming your online hoy goise no etia sage government e olop active role play koribo then employee walk-ins bahut bur situations ami dekhu je kisuman employee nijor resume kon kisuman organization in advance vacancy nulaleo di thoi ahe je jodi kiba karone dorkar hoy please give me a call every details are already there in the biodata or the what CV curriculum write khonot dia thake so kiba vacancy ulale teuluke mane directly phone koribo pare right next let us look at the merits bur sao external recruitment ot ki hoy ki so many people are attracted to the job right so there is a scope for better selection and aru ki hobo pare biasness no hoy ne so there is no scope for favoritism or biasness but there involves the cost thake then it becomes time consuming hoy ne so there are and external recruitment korile internal manukhiniye beya pabo ako internal recruitment korile externally manukhiniye kobo je company to biased hoy tole 2 number kori pale recruitment korise hoy na so both has its advantages and disadvantages and I said that this recruitment is an internal policy of the organization right next selection I will teach you in the next class okay thank you